Welcome back to another episode of Page Burners. This is a podcast where we are working our way through all of the Malazan books by both Stephen Erikson and Ian Esselmont. Currently, we are on House of Chains, hoping to finish that up this month. And then I believe our very next book will, in fact, be Midnight Tides. Maybe there's a Bocklin and Corbel brooch in between it. There is? No, there is not. No, I'm getting confirmation there is, in fact, not. Uh, I am currently the host. I have usurped the adjunct. This is Carl, temporarily in place of the adjunct. And I'm going to hand things off to my friends here as we await the adjunct. And they're going to introduce themselves and go ahead and tell us what it is they're most excited to talk about from this set of chapters. These chapters being 20 and 21. Is that right?
It could be.
It could be something like that.
I
No,
think
I do
so.
believe it is 20 and 21. Alrighty. So before I hand it off, my thing that I'm most excited to talk about has got to be everything going on with Lorik. My boy Lorik, who I've completely embraced and started a cult for on this read through. And I was just so excited to get to meet his father again, Osric. This is a reread for me, but you know, there's a lot I was fuzzy on that I don't remember that well. So it was like reading it with fresh eyes. How about you, Shannon?
Hey, my name's Shannon, and I actually wanted to talk about some of the same stuff. So I'll talk to you about that later, I guess. But for me, I'll say several. A lot of the stuff with he interested me, particularly the stuff around the destruction of Ugarat, and I wanted to talk about that, about the tragedy of kind of destroying a renaissance that was just kicking off. I think that's horrible.
Good,
Uh,
good stuff. I agree. That was some of the stuff that I'd completely forgotten about. Really excellent. How
mhm.
about you, Dan?
What about you, Dan?
Um, I think the part I want to the part that stood out to me the most was the palpable tension between Pearl and what's her name, Lostara. I never know how to say her name. Red Blade.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Lostarian.
Yeah,
Lostara.
Lostaria.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I always get the wrong spelling in my brain. But yeah, I like that part.
By possible tension, you mean their burgeoning romance?
Wow,
Where
the
they in this
palpable
section?
tension I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, they start making out at the very end.
Yeah, it was
Mhm.
very, very fun chapter,
Absolutely,
I think.
absolutely. I agree. Co-signed on that one as well. All right, well, let's go ahead and start off at the beginning of chapter 20. We have Cutter and Apsalar leaving behind
Yeah.
Drift of Ollie and returning to Raraku very hesitantly. Um, any thoughts? Any preliminary thoughts?
Can
I'm
you tell
having to
me what
remind myself.
happened? Like, they
Yeah, I'm
went
having
on
to
a
remind
ship?
myself of that as well. So clearly not the most memorable section for Cutter and Apsalar. I'm pretty sure it's like mostly them talking and kind of
Yeah,
working
it is.
through their like personal relationship and how
Hmm.
awkward it is at this point. You know,
Very.
they very clearly, this is like a classic couple romantic, especially like young couple issue, right? Where like they're very clearly reading into each other more than they probably should and misreading each other's intentions.
Hmm.
And Apsalar is pissed at Cutter for aligning with the god who possessed her, Cotillion, and Cutter thought that actually this would help him get closer to her by trying to be more like her. And of
Yeah.
course, that is not why she's into him. That was never why she was into him. And especially doing this in the wake of her grieving her father, who, I forget, did he commit suicide or did he just like die of
He just
regular?
died. Just
Yeah.
He
died.
just died. Yeah.
Yeah. And so Cutter's just being stupid, something new and different, you know.
Yeah.
And Apsalar's not helping the situation by essentially being distant and aloof
Yeah.
and sarcastic and judgmental. It's not a fun time all around.
I mean,
I
they're
do love these two.
teenagers, so,
Yeah, they
like,
literally are teenagers. That is
yeah.
worthwhile to remember, right? They I mean, God, how old are they at this point? 18, 19 maybe?
Something like
Yeah.
Not
that.
very old, because
Barely.
they were, like, maybe 16 in Gardens of the Moon,
I
and
was
it's
gonna
been,
say it
like,
hasn't
15
been,
or
but
14,
maybe
but
what,
yeah.
2 years since that? Like, it hasn't
Mhm.
been
yeah,
that long.
yeah. We
Yeah.
did actually get some exposition. We got a lot of exposition actually in these chapters around the first throne of the Talani Mass and how
Hmm.
it relates to the First Empire being both the
Yeah.
first empire of the Talani Mass, which is not really wasn't really an empire as we think of empires, and then the first empire of humans, which arose out of that first
Mhm.
empire of the Talani Mass. We also get little bits here and there of the lore of Decembalakis and exactly
Hmm.
how he relates to the Hounds of Darkness. I don't know if that's in this section exactly, but
It is. I'd asked about that a couple weeks ago, and yeah, like I think we more or less get the answer next
yes,
chapter about his connection to the Daragoths, the Hounds
yes.
of Shadows.
That was really helpful. We also get lots of answers about I know we were confused about, like, the relationship between Manus and Fear and, Rashan, and we get some clarification there, although it's
Mhm.
also purposely ambiguous, and the lines between them, are
Yeah.
not necessarily hardly drawn, or
Hmm.
strictly drawn rather. But, I mean, that's all, I don't know that that's all right up here up front where we're mostly dealing with 2 teenagers being, less than great to each other.
Now, I think this section just kind of established because they're coming to Seven Cities on the boats that the Rupp gave them, and then they kind of fill us in with some lore as far as and kind of we get to learn all that they know about Kellenbed and the First Throne and all that stuff.
Do we know
Yeah.
at this point why they've been sent to Ruraku into Seven City?
I think it's just a task. I think they were just sent there. Like I don't remember Rupp telling us why
Okay, it
or telling
hasn't been
Cutter why.
clarified yet. Right. Okay. Cool. Cool, cool, cool.
I
It
don't think
feels
so.
like a bit of that storyline is more like, how do I say? Um, like they're being sent there just so they could see what's going on, and then we can also see as the readers what's going on, because they're not really necessary, at least for this whole section of them on the island,
Yeah, I
right?
feel like they've been very disconnected from everything else going on.
Well, I mean, they were sent to the island with the express purpose of defending the island.
But they
Um,
didn't do much of
oh,
that though.
yeah, no, they were not very good at that. The
So
real hero there was Traveler, I guess, and, you know, Cotillion even himself who showed up and actually did some ass kicking, which was useful. But yeah, no, Cutter kind of was just along for the ride. It felt like.
yeah. So I wonder. Maybe just we needed to be there so we could get all this exposition, which is very relevant.
My,
Mhm.
I mean, I don't actually remember exactly what their mission is,
Me.
but my thought is that Cotillion really wants Absolar to be present because Absolar actually is
Mm,
useful, and I think he may be trying to
Well,
mend bridges,
hmm.
but I'm not sure. Shannon, were you gonna say something?
no.
Okay. Okay. Um,
Do
yeah,
you
I mean, they are
think?
mostly our eyes, right? Because
Okay.
we can't see it through Cotillion's eyes,
Yeah.
but it's I don't know. I we'll have to see how this ends. That's one of the things with a lot of these storylines that, like,
Hmm.
it's tough to really get a big picture of what's going on and if it's that necessary or if this is just kind of a narrative convenience without having an idea of exactly what the mission is and what it is they're,
True.
sent here to do. Uh,
Mhm.
I do not remember, so cannot
Me
help.
neither.
Oh,
Oh,
and we have
someone is.
Varsha. The adjutant has
Oh,
arrived.
Carol, you're fired.
Lots of several names today.
Yeah, yeah, for the chat, Shannon is currently labeled as febrile apologist. And so I, of course, had to come in as Febril's #1 hater because I'll never miss a chance to be a hater.
And
I
then
see.
Dan felt the need to just be a federal neutralist.
Oh, I didn't even notice
It's-
that. I hadn't noticed he changed his name. That's crazy.
Yeah,
What's your
yeah,
stance,
Mr.
Varsha?
Switzerland over there.
Okay, now what's my stance on febrile? Uh, febrile.
Pro or con, no pressure, but I will judge you.
Huracan
Okay.
or anything in the world. There you go.
Febra
Okay.
don't care.
I mean, I
He's on
do.
my
It was a
side.
fun section, but
It was good. No, it was really good. That was Shannon's pick for what he's most excited to talk
Oh.
about. Other than
nice.
also Lorik and Osric and all that stuff, which was my pick. What about you, Varsha? Now that we got you here, what are you most excited to talk about?
What am I most excited to talk about? I think what Kalam saw. Did someone already pick that?
True.
Yeah. Okay,
No.
that's mine then.
Good choice. Good choice. We've
Yes.
literally only talked about Cutter and Apsalar just being, angsty teenagers together
Okay.
and kind of discussed what we think their mission is and why they've been sent to 7 cities and if it's just a narrative convenience or if the mission actually makes sense.
Right.
And that's about as far as we've gotten. So haven't
I was
missed
gonna
much.
ask, like, do you think that Crocus and Apsalar, do you think they're gonna stay together, or is it just doomed to fail?
So you're
Why-
asking the three of us who know.
Yeah, who
Oh,
knows?
true.
man?
You're right.
Who knows?
You're right. Okay, ask me. Ask me. Ask me.
Yeah, what do you think, Dan?
What do you think?
True. I guess yeah. I guess I didn't remember. I don't know how much of a important thing it is in the future. So maybe like you guys didn't remember. But yeah. Well, I
Who
don't know.
knows?
Statistically, teenage relationships are doomed to fail. So,
Aren't you a bright ray of sunshine?
well, I'm just saying. I think it's like 75% of relationship that started when you're less than 18 have a length of less than 1 year.
Well, this has
So
been
most
more than
teenage
1 year.
relationships less than 1 year, basically. Which
They've
makes
surpassed
sense.
that statistic. I'll give them that much.
Yeah, I guess. But I don't
Well,
know.
I think if this book was written by somebody else, she'd probably hook up with the rope and call him her shadow daddy or something.
That would be some.
Yeah, if this was the romantasy, right? That's the love triangle. And she ditches
But,
her loser teenage boyfriend for the hot older shadow daddy.
No,
Yep.
but he abused her. He possessed her literally. That's
But
like
but
That's
it
the
is,
draw,
it's
Dan.
romantic.
It's
I've
so
never
fucked
not
up.
read any romantasy.
come on. They want a little sprinkling of abuse. A little sprinkling of
That's not
abuse to
sprinkling.
spice it up, And then he
Mhm.
grows, right? He grows and she redeems him. That's
Okay,
romantasy,
true.
baby.
You're right. Women love that.
Yep. No,
Right.
he's a bad boy.
I'm like, what is so funny is how neatly Cotillion actually fits that trope. Like, it is actually really an astute observation from Shannon. And if this series was written today, who knows? Stephen Erikson maybe would have followed the crowd. No, he wouldn't do that. He has too much integrity. But
No.
it certainly, certain authors would absolutely write that story. 100%.
What are the chance that there's a fanfic where this actually happens?
100%.
100%? Okay.
100%. I can also tell you there's for sure fanfic of Anamanda Rake and Kaladin Brood getting it on. That's out
that
there.
makes sense. That makes sense.
That does make sense.
Yeah.
Let's think. What are the other obvious ones? Well, Shadow Throne and Cotillion. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
that's
alre-
what I was thinking.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
already heterosexual life partners.
Yeah, true.
Who else?
I don't know. What's my favorite unrealized ship in the whole book? I don't
Problem
know.
is, I don't really ship a lot of. I guess like all the duos you could like theoretically ship,
Is
and there are a bunch of good
Karalpast
duos.
Yeah.
and Krupp is the enemies to lovers we all need.
That's
would
the
read that.
dynamic of
They don't even have to like it. It doesn't just need it. Like Megora can be a part of that. Like just make it a full on polycule with all of them. I mean, this is we're cooking here, folks. Someone
be
call
such
up Steven
chaos.
Erikson.
God.
I know what he needs to write into the next Witness book. Witness this.
Yeah, he should do a romance one, but just for fun, right?
There,
Why not?
yeah. I
Yeah, we
would be
should
intrigued to
suggest it to
see
them.
what
Are,
he
are
would
any
do.
of the Bokulane and Corbelbroch romance books?
Oh God. Oh, that's a horrible thought. Horrible
Ugh.
image.
Oh, I hope not.
Yeah.
The worst thing that could have come out of your mouth was pairing those two
Wait,
together.
Yeah.
so this just
Not
beat out the pust and crop thing I said?
It way
Yeah, that
worse.
was awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome. This is terrible. This is oh. All right. Well, I'm gonna to clean our memories of that. Since we don't have
Well, I
Clorox
don't
on
mean
us.
Bokulane and Corbelbroch together. I just meant some other characters in a Bokulane and Corbelbroch
Oh,
book.
okay. That's much
Okay.
better.
Okay.
That's actually okay.
No, it still isn't going to end well for anybody there.
Well, that's true.
That's true.
I would be curious to see what Erikson would do if he just went all in on romance for one book, but
Maybe fun.
he has some books of the Book of the Fallen are more romance heavy than others, I will say. And I don't think we've necessarily gotten to
Okay.
all of his most direct romances. But it's always a big story, right? I mean, that's never like the focus. Anyway,
Yeah.
back to speaking of
Oh, Onrock, I think, was after Cutter and
yes,
Absalar.
yes,
Yeah.
Big section with Troll and Onrock.
our best duo here in this book. Well, actually, I guess that's debatable. Lostariel and Pearl are pretty awesome. So, one of our
Yes.
best duos,
What about Osric and the Frog Demon? That's a pretty good duo too.
Lorik.
Oh,
and the
Grey
Frog
Frog.
Lorik, sorry.
Well, we'll
Lorik
get there.
and-
We'll get there.
And yes,
Yeah,
I
I
agree
was so
with
happy to see Grey Frog. I forgot he showed up at that point.
Oh.
truly one of the best characters.
But as soon as he
Unironically.
started talking, I said, "Oh, I remember this guy."
Yes. When they said his name, I may have cheered.
I love Grey Frog. I think my name is Grey Frog or something on some Discord. Anyway,
Nice.
He is unironically a fan favorite character. Like
Really?
easily the most popular demon in the series. People love Grey Frog, and for good reason.
Well, I think the only real competition he has had so far is that one that with the two
Aptorian.
penises that peed on
in this
stuff and
book.
melted it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but there's apt. There's apt.
I mean, there was
yeah,
one in the
that's big.
first book. But I mean, as far as like real competition for best demon.
That one is pretty great. I will give him that. He's packing. All right. What happens here in this section? A lot of
A lot of
talking.
talking.
Yeah.
they wait.
Yeah, this is where we get all
Yeah.
kinds of lore stuff. You start talking about the nameless one, cult a whole bunch.
Mhm.
Right. Is this the first time that we learn that they're connected to the Azath houses? And that their cult is...
I think we've heard of them. I don't know if they've connected them to Azath house before this.
I thought we've heard about that.
Didn't
So
Icarium's backstory involve the lying and cheating of the nameless ones, alongside the fact that they wanted to? Did they want to trap him in an Azath house, or did they want to control him without trapping him in an Azath house? I forget. I think they
Not
want
sure.
the control. But I think we learned then that they are tied to the Azath houses. But I don't think we know the
Okay.
specifics. Or we
What-
knew the specifics. Did we?
What we learn is that the nameless ones want to trap the Talani mass in the
Yeah.
Azath houses.
yeah.
That's like explicitly... I mean, I guess we don't know that for a fact, but that's what the theory is, that if they found the Throne of Shadow...
And we know from Deadhouse Gates that the Azath house is like trapped. I don't know, powerful
Right.
entities, because so many of the Soul Taken and Diverse and were trapped there. So that seems to be a related thing, and maybe something that's going on here is the nameless ones. They're about trying to trap powerful entities or something. But
Absolutely. No, I mean, that's
um,
crucial, interesting lore.
So
what do we think? Like, why do we? So one of the things we discuss here, I say we, the characters discuss, is Kellanved's finding of the first throne of the Talani
Hmm.
Mass and his use of the Talani Mass, and there. Do we have a sense of that? Like, this is like a magical throne, or is it just like honor binding them, or what? And
I feel
I
like
guess
it's a
you don't know where.
physical throne because, like, the Shadow Throne
Right.
was an actual throne. So I'm like,
Right.
this must be. Well, and then I think this is where they said that the humans moved it to
Right.
Seven Cities to hide it from the Nameless Ones, which is weird because everything we've heard about the Nameless Ones has been in Seven Cities so far. That kind of struck out at me as, well, that's weird. Maybe I guess maybe they followed it there, and that's why there's some concentrated there. But so I imagine it being like a physical throne that you sit on and
Right.
grand.
No, I agree. I guess I just wonder exactly how the rules of it work. Like, do they just suddenly sense when someone sits on it? Is it just the Talani Mass who have taken the vow? Is it every Talani Mass? Is it just based on their honor code, or is there an actual like magic binding them
Um,
to the throne?
I mean, I think it's got to be the ones that are still holding to the vow. I mean, because like we know, like Kalava wouldn't care.
Right.
She's off doing her own thing. The Renegades are off doing their thing.
Yeah. Little
Well, I
did
mean, and
little did the nameless ones know that if you want to get rid of the Talani Mass, all you got to do is get a really nice destriant to come in and just forgive them of all their sins, and then they'll just fade into dust.
oh,
That's true. And that is a much nicer thing to do than trap them for even more forever than in an Azath house.
Yeah, no, for real. That's like night and day difference, really.
But to your question, Carl, I think so. Who said this? When I guess when Onrak was telling the Bonecaster, trying to convince them to chase down the renegades, the if they put someone on the first throne, then they can even command the new Bonecaster, Silver Fox. So
mhm.
Silver Fox
True.
doesn't strike me as someone who would listen unless she had to. So this does feel like a sort of magical binding.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely the sense I got, but I wasn't 100% certain. I'd
Yeah,
be
that doesn't
curious.
make sense. Yeah, yeah, because yeah, it's Monarch Oakham, I think, that's talking about that, and he says that the renegades, they want to put a Tistedor on the throne so that he can command that mortal bonecaster, and then I guess then control the rest through that or something. But you're right, that plan doesn't make any sense.
Interesting.
Mm.
Well, if anyone listening, I know we have some like Uber fans who do listen. If you have thoughts on this, non-spoilery thoughts, I would love to hear them. Go ahead and post about them in the forum. Otherwise, I think we'll move on to the next thing unless someone else has something they want to share. Because I just skimmed through, and that is literally all that happens in this section. Is they just talk about the first throne, and then meet up with
Yeah.
the other Talani Mass and get them to agree to not kill our boy Onrak, and
Um,
they
we
go.
get a whole bunch of lore about the eye masses, like the bonecasters. We get we start learning about people like Olar Ethel
Right.
and let's see, Hentos, Ern, Turn, Benesto. So yeah, like we learn there's a whole bunch. These are all the bonecasters, I guess. Yeah, one's named I Estos, which I thought was weird because I was like, isn't it? I mean, his name's basically like dog or wolf.
I also thought that, yeah, that's interesting. They named him after the big big wolves.
The beasts that hang out with him. But yeah, that's all I got from that. I think we're ready to move on to Lostar Yill.
All right, take us away, Dan. You wanted to
Yep.
talk about him.
Yeah, I don't know. I just love the romance. I love the tension. Well, I don't know if it's even a romance. It's like, is it just, are they just lonely? They've been in the desert for so long, and they just need something.
No, I think Pearl's pretentious assholiness has rubbed off on her, and really, it's doing it for her.
Yeah,
I
women
still
love
hate him,
that.
but she seems to love him.
I mean, he's pretty funny, I think, at
He
times.
can be funny every now and then. Yeah.
I mean, this is definitely
Now,
a scenario where it's like you go through some shit with someone and they're attractive and you bond, you know? And they
well, yeah. And
So
there's something about adrenaline and being out
right.
in the field like that.
he is
On
described as
Um,
being very good looking, right?
Yes. He's
Mhm.
supposed to
yeah.
be
Well, he's a quarter-tist Andy, where they
that's
talk
something
about,
Very
else.
interesting,
Yeah.
which,
actually.
and then his mother's from Drift of Valley, which makes him like a great grandson of Anamanda Rake or something.
Oh, wow. I hadn't done that math. You're right.
True.
So yeah, I think that's where his good looks come from, is the Andy side.
Makes sense. Elves are typically hot. So,
Mm, yeah.
I just started Forge of Darkness yesterday, and yeah, there's a lot of smoky eyes and handsomeness about the Andy described there.
the Andy or the Teist love to chew the scenery and just be, yeah, very brooding and sexy. And I mean,
Yeah.
they could all be the male lead of a romantasy. Pretty much all of them.
Mhm.
Or female leads for
Yes,
that matter, like they got it all.
the strong
And,
silent types. I guess we're writing a romantasy book today. That's what we're doing in this
you
one.
know, maybe that's why he took so long to write, or to write this third Carcanis book. He was waiting for the romantasy to take off.
Exactly. He could see the winds shifting.
Yeah.
I mean, Romancy is one of the biggest sections of fantasy. It's probably the biggest one, I might say.
Oh, biggest. Yeah, in
I'd
this day
say
and
Right?
age,
it's the
Yeah.
biggest.
it's crazy. When you look at those sales figures, it's nuts.
I should write that.
If you wanna make bank, that's definitely the way to go.
You got a
What
ton
I
of
mean
new ideas today. Get on that. But we found out that they found out that Felicin is Shaik. I always love
Yes.
those
Mhm.
moments when there is a realization that will sort of break our characters a little bit, waiting to happen, and how it does. I love the way they found out, and then how they're both sort of dealing with it without quite dealing with it.
Yeah. I had a bit, not a slight problem. I just thought it was a bit, how do I say? Like they make a lot of assumptions which are not necessarily true, I think, to get to their conclusion. Because I think a million things could have also happened that would have
Well,
went into a
what
different.
did they? I mean, they Losar was there. Actually, Losar was the one who killed Shaik, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
yes.
So she knows I mean, they went and they find her body. There he is. She's dead.
Yeah.
And then they've trailed Felicin and Hiborik and Bowden. The body's
Yeah.
gone by now to this point. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I can kind of buy the logical
No,
step.
I'm saying like the whole thing from the beginning of the book, like for them to piece together, went through the war and if they got dropped in the middle and then being able to find, and then there's a lot of, I don't know, I feel a lot of places where it could have gone differently. And even here, like, okay, sure, you trace them there, and then they could have just maybe not met or arrived at a different time, or even if they arrived at the same time, who knows, there might have been another woman that they chose as Shaykh.
Yeah,
It's not necessarily that's what happened.
that's true.
I don't know.
They do make some assumptions, or yeah, they do
Mhm.
make some leaps in logic, I would agree with. I mean, at the same time, it does feel like once you have all the information, like, it's not an insane leap either,
Yeah.
Like, you're like, "Oh, yeah, they this woman or this girl walked on this path, and it disappears here, and she disappears right around the time the new Shaik appears, and the new Shaik
Mhm.
is a young woman around her age.
Yeah.
Interesting. But I think one of the bits I'm with you. I think that this is maybe some amount of narrative convenience, but uh, I think some of the detail that softens it a bit is that they are like Pearl's doing some magical tracking.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
he's
yeah.
not just like he's actively following the like texture, the path, the trail laid by the magic done in their wake. And so it's not completely like, oh, we're going to this place and then completely taking a giant leap to the next. Like he's actively like tracking
Yeah. I'm not saying
their
I'm
journey.
fine with it. I'm just it's more like when you read those detectives movies or stories, and then
Right.
the detective says, "Oh, this thing happened, this happened. It's the only thing that could possibly happen to make all these things together."
Yeah.
And he makes a very nice story, and it's like, how did he deduct it? And it was very
Right.
interesting,
You're like,
right?
how could you possibly guess this? Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
But
I
if
agree with you.
someone
Yeah.
told me in real life, I would tell them like, "Fuck,
There's
I
no
don't
way.
believe you." Like,
Yeah. I do agree with that. I mean, I agree, I think, with your overall critique. Um, it's definitely
not
one of
critique.
those, like, you just kinda have to roll with the punches here.
It's
Yeah.
fine. I just thought it was a bit funny if I actually thought about it. But yeah.
And then next would be
Um,
Kalam. You wanna
mhm.
talk about that, Varsha?
Yes. So Kalam sees the past of Raraku in
Mhm.
the in the form of, I think, an army that is
Mhm.
just sort of marching without quite being aware that it's dead. And I I think between this and Lorik's scene that you had mentioned on the forum, Shannon, I love this idea of the desert as a living, breathing entity. I think someone, I forget who it was, also mentions, someone speaks of the desert as if it's a living thing um, with sentience, and the person they're talking to says, "Yeah, of course it is," and I love that notion of a desert. So I'm a huge fan of sentient spaces, and typically forests and planets are what I enjoy the most. But deserts is a whole other thing that's quite awesome. And there was one more thing about this. I forget. Oh yeah, and also the spirit that awakened and begged Fiddler to to come to Raraku so that the song can be completed. And it also seems like there was a different song that was sung that
Yeah.
about different people, not the bridge burners. So maybe we're going to have more than the bridge burners ascend by the end of this book. Who knows if they all show up at the desert? But there
I
needs to
read
be
that
like,
differently.
hmm,
I I believe what we're seeing is the origin of the Tano Spirit Walker and their magic that
hmm,
allows for the ascension of the bridge burners. Like, this is the
Mhm.
first
hmm.
he is named
His
Tano,
name's
he
Tano.
goes and
He's
Oh.
he Kalam calls him Tano Spirit Walker, and then he goes, "Oh, is that what I'll be called in the future? Okay." And I think you're left to piece together. This is not the Tano Spirit Walker that they met. This is that becomes the title of uh, what this guy essentially originates in this
Mhm.
moment in the past, in this memory in Raraku, and he sings this song to honor the dead, and in doing so, he makes it so that they are effectively immortal, where they are now reliving, you know, permanently marching to
Yeah.
their deaths.
Hmm. Interesting. Oh, so acha, because he sang that song, that's why these spirits are still alive. Interesting.
I believe so.
I
Oh,
didn't put that together, but yeah, that makes sense.
that makes sense, because otherwise you have to wonder why other things are not alive or why these specific ones showed up.
Right.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't register that.
Yeah, it's cool. This is, I mean, this is something that completely went right over my head on a first read through. I did not remember this at all. Super awesome scene, and I think an excellent bit of showing rather than telling how the magic works and, its origin and all
Hmm.
of that. And like you said, tying it into the desert as a living thing and ghosts as memories. And, we get to learn about the First Empire and Disymbolakis. Is this where we learn
Yeah,
about the thrones of or the Hounds of Darkness, or is that a different?
that's
That's
Lorik.
Lorik.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Lorik. Yeah. Uh, but we do get more info about Disymbolakis and the First Empire. Who are they going to fight? Who wipes them out? The
The
human
who?
army.
The
Is it the Soul Taken and the Divers? The ones we saw mid freeze when Heberick and Felison went into that, I forget what place it was, that underground cave things.
hmm.
Oh, after the ritual, the Soul Taken divers came out and like slaughtered this regular human army.
They didn't. Oh yeah, I think so. There was a mention of the Soul Taken and Divers. I forget if it was a mention of that's how the Empire ended, or that's who they were going to fight. I don't think it was that's who they were going to fight.
Did you guys know that the origin of this term divers, it has an origin in like real history and anthropology, and that I
Hmm.
stumbled upon this completely by accident. I forget if I was listening to a podcast or what, but it was a term to describe these like ancient gods that were then treated like devils in the Zoroastrian religion.
Mhm.
So this is
Hmm.
like thousands of years old, like an ancient term. And I can only imagine that Erikson took it, picked it up, and then like, or Esselmont may have done it. One of them, right? Because both of them have this anthropology, archaeologic, archaeological background. And anyway, I thought that was really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is pretty cool. Yes, but I have a question going back to what we were talking about before, the army that's not quite undead but still lives in ghostly awareness. I I wonder where they fall on the spectrum of Tilanimas to, I don't know, immortals like the Tistandi. And you have to wonder if that's going to be the fate of the bridge burners if the song comes to completion, if they'll have a sort of ghostly existence. And is that better or worse than death? Are they reliving the same day over and over? Are they living adjacent, whatever living means for a ghost?
Interesting question. The sense I got from these guys in particular was that they weren't aware of the fact they're dead.
Huh.
That they were kind of a classic ghost reliving the same memory over and over again, but not aware of that
Yeah.
fact.
Well, did the spirit walker know he was dead?
He did find
Yeah.
out.
He
Yeah.
did, yeah.
Yeah.
He did not know that. He found it out from his interaction with Clem.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I would question whether or not he would remember that for long, though. Because I doubt Kalam is the first person this ghost has interacted with in the thousands upon thousands of
Hmm.
years. He's been where he has been.
No.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Do we kn-
that's. Sorry, go ahead,
Go
Dan.
ahead. No, go ahead. Ursha.
Yeah, I was gonna. I was trying to think if there's something maybe special about Kalam
Yeah,
that he
there is.
carries the song of the bridge burners, perhaps.
Exactly, I think. Yeah. I would expect Fiddler would be the only other person who could see this army and interact with them.
Huh.
Maybe some other, like, ascendant or something, but oh, I don't know if you can hear that. There are cars honking outside.
Sound like a train to me.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell was going on. Some
That's what
people
I thought so
being
too.
jerks.
Hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, that whole sequence was really cool.
Interesting.
I haven't been keen on the Kalam sections, but this one was cool.
Ditto.
Yeah.
I agree with all of that.
Do you think this?
And then Kalam. Wait,
Sorry.
what? No, you're still talking about that part. That's cool.
No, yeah, I was just asking about like this vision that he gets. Like maybe I missed it, but what triggered it?
Him.
Yeah.
Like doing what? Like is it because he went into a specific place?
Yeah. He
Mhm.
walked into
Okay.
Ruraku. He is
Yeah, I
But
think
going to complete
Barsha
the
was right.
song.
I think it's because he's carrying the song.
Yep.
Okay.
And then this is Tano who started the whole thing, and so it's a related magic.
But it's
I
different than the part with Lorik. Because that's also like a memory, right? That's what
Yeah.
he says, the memory of Raraku. So it's still
That's a little more confusing. Yeah, he thinks he goes into a warren, but ends up in a memory of Raraku, which I guess are connected maybe by
I don't know.
I think it's like a
by,
I'm wondering.
by Talon, by the Talon warren because
Yeah.
of how much the IMAS are connected to this area.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But do you think it's
But
similar
he
in
actually
any way
goes into a memory.
to what Kalam is seeing?
No.
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 Okay.
It's even older. It's an older memory. Because this is Kalam is still seeing the desert. He's still seeing Ruraku after it became a desert.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and then these guys specifically call out the First Empire is they're fighting against the First Empire.
Okay.
Okay, there it is. So that's what they were doing. They're fighting the First Empire. Okay.
Yeah, they're on the run. It said Decembalacus, the first emperor. Yeah, he's like what was it? Is he teamed up with the Nameless Ones, or he's I think he's in an alliance with the Nameless Ones, and something's going down, and it talks about how like 6 of the 7 protectors are gone. I don't, yeah, and which we don't know. I don't think we know really what all this means. And yeah, Tano. This guy is the 11th and last seneschal of Yaragatan, and he's been banished by the first emperor.
Is Yaragatan the same as another city with a similar sounding name that we meet in
I would
World
think
Hunters?
so.
Okay.
It's just been made smaller through time because
We know of
thousands
Yucatan.
years ago.
It's been named.
Yeah.
We know of Yucatan.
We know it's been mentioned.
Yep, it's in Dead House Gates. All the 7 cities are named.
If not, I mean, it's on the map, which has been in all the both these books.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely say it's probably Yagatan.
Absolutely. I agree. I think the name just changed over time, as names do.
If it's a city, because somebody else points out that the 7 cities have changed over the years, and
That
just
is
the
true.
number has stayed the same. But I do think, I think this is probably Yagatan. Makes sense. So then he
So
then
this,
we get then we get the black the hounds, the hounds of darkness show up.
That's
yeah,
right.
in the
And he
next.
barely escapes. Yeah, that part was
Oh, right. Sorry,
badass.
I was thinking of the other scene. But yes, they show up, and okay, sorry, I'm jumping ahead a little bit. But since we talked about these hounds, so Lorik, when he goes to his memory, there are hounds there too, and he worries that if he opens a gate, the hounds will follow him. So there is a bit of time travel thing implied here, which is kind of cool. But also, are these the same hounds as those hounds? If so, will there be multiple copies? Will there be time paradoxes if they fight each other and kill each other?
I mean, if it's just a memory,
too,
they're not real, though.
Yeah. Like he's in a memory. I don't know if he knew that at that point exactly, but like, yeah, I was gonna ask you guys that. Like, could they have gone through a warren into the real world from this memory? I would postulate yes because of Grey Frog.
Yeah, I was gonna say yeah.
However, Grey Frog originated outside of the memory. He came into the memory, got stuck. So not necessarily. Like the guy, you could make a really good argument. I think either way.
I think everything inside is not real, and the only things real inside are Osric and the demons, because the demons are at the edge between the fake and the real on the outside, right? That's how
Mhm.
I believe it. I don't think it makes sense, but it's
I
magic,
disagree.
so
I
yeah.
think they could go through. I think they maybe would cease to exist if the I think it's a pocket warren. If the pocket warren
Hmm.
You just shut up for like
disappears,
2 minutes. I've moved rooms 3 times. I can hear your voice all over the house.
but yeah, I think it is definitely a situation of like memories coming alive, and so I think it's
Hmm.
quite possible that the hound could in fact go through. I mean, maybe not. We don't know for certain, right? But I think it's possible.
Seems complicated though if that would happen.
Well, yeah, but I mean, this is Malazan. What's simple?
I guess so. Hmm.
Yeah,
Time travel. I like the possibility of a sort of time travel thing.
it's
But-
interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay, fair enough. Um,
it is a. I mean, circling back to the actual scene itself, it is like a pretty wild establishment of their power, right? That like Kalam, he knows he's just got to get out. Like he can't
yeah,
stick around. He can't fight and win, even with the 5 demons, which we know are like crazy powerful. One of them is crazy powerful enough to like kill a whole camp.
yeah.
So imagining what all 5 could do, and yet he still felt like he needed to run from these 2 hounds.
But the demons didn't die, right? They were just. I think Kalam thought they would die, but they actually didn't.
They did not die. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were injured, and now Shadow Throne is aware of the Hounds of Darkness existing. We also get in the scene following that a description of it. It was confusing, but I think I read this correctly. Please let me know what you all think. Essentially, the backstory of where those crystals came from, that Shadow Throne had at one point stolen them from some trader who had tucked them away in one of the 7 cities. And his illusion disappeared when the actual crystals, which he had given to Kalam, were used and destroyed.
Is that what happened?
I thought
thought that-
Shadow Throne was the origin of. Sorry, Dan, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I thought Shadow Throne created those crystals.
That was what I originally thought, but then why did we go suddenly transport to a completely different city with some random merchant who apparently
Because
had tucked away those crystals, and
Yeah,
they
but do you
immediately
remember
disappeared? Like they
earlier in the
can't be in 2
book?
places at once.
No, earlier in the book, he used some of the crystals to buy the dagger. Do you remember? And that's
Yeah.
what happened.
And that
Those
guy
crystal
sold
then, yeah.
those
Oh, you're right.
diamonds, I think. Yeah.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
right. You're right. That's what it is. You're right. That's correct. I'd forgotten about that. I did not remember that at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I
This
was
is why we
forgotten
keep you
till it
around,
happened.
Dan.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah, and he's freaked out. Shadow Throne is freaked out by the presence of the Hounds of Darkness.
As you should.
Yeah, I would be freaked out also. It is. I found it a very well written scene about how Shadow Throne, this enigmatic, I mean, he's literally a god, is completely shaken by the existence of the Hounds of Darkness, or at least the resurrection, the reappearance of the Hounds. Like, I just thought Erikson did a masterful job of making it feel like a really big deal.
Yeah, they seem very strong.
Well, that's for sure. All right,
But
after
they don't
that, we get...
seem. Do they seem malicious, though?
Well, they
Eh,
seem to kill pretty much everything they come across.
true.
I mean, they've been asleep long enough, you know, they're kinda grouchy. They just need some coffee.
Yeah. I mean, but did they? I mean, they weren't killing everything when they were like basically the rulers of 7 cities, right?
Yeah, they were.
Were they?
I mean, they domesticated the humans, I guess, but
Yeah. I mean, we
Hmm.
domesticate dogs, but we're not just killing them, I guess. I don't know.
I do love the theory
uh,
that, Osric puts forth that actually dogs domesticated humans. So that was very funny. It feels like a classic sort of anthropological little bit there.
I think
yeah.
I've read that on memes online before.
Yeah, right?
But
Getting
I think it was
people
for
to, like,
cats or something,
freely
actually.
love you and give you food and water and ensure it's steady and ensure you're treated well and you can just laze around all day. I mean, yeah, it does kind of feel like they domesticated
Yeah.
us.
But that only happened recently, though. Until now, they were actually working, though.
That's true. That's true. They had dogs with jobs for hundreds of
Yeah.
thousands of
You didn't
years.
have dogs for no reason until very recently, right?
Right. I mean,
I
I'm
don't know.
sure there maybe were like exceptions, but generally
Yeah.
speaking, for sure. I mean, dogs had jobs. They were there to like protect and to help with hunting and alert when there was a
Yeah.
threat and
I would say
stuff like that.
cats probably had less of a job, but they were still
Yeah,
around,
yeah.
right? They
And they
still
were
had to kill.
literally
Yeah.
worshipped, we know, right? Like going back to ancient Egypt, for example.
Exactly.
Fucking cats.
There's not many cats, actually, now that I think of it in Malazan. There's a lot of dogs. Not a lot of
That
cats.
definitely gives you an idea, right? You gotta be a dog person, Erikson.
True. It's a good point. We can
Doesn't seem
ask
like a
him.
cat person. For all of the mythical symbolism and magical creatures and stuff, yeah, there are no cats that we can think of, right? At least not in these first 4 books.
I guess Treach is a
Treach?
tiger.
Treach, okay,
Yeah.
Treach is the one. Treach is the one.
The tiger, though.
We haven't even properly met or no, we did meet Treach. Never mind. I was wrong. We've met Treach properly.
Like a chapter. No.
Yeah, in like 1 chapter.
Yeah. Hmm. Fair enough.
Alright, Cutter and Apsalar, they re-encounter Scarlpust and they meet Megora, and
Yeah.
it is just delightful, you know?
It was very short, though.
Scarlpust talks about flirting with Apsalar to make Megora jealous. Hysterical. Apsalar
Yeah.
said, "Please don't. No, thank you. You can think of nothing I would rather do less."
Do we know what he looks like?
Yeah,
Stropas?
he's like a hairy, like, old man.
Do we know that?
Hunched o Yes.
Oh, okay.
He's actually bald on top. He
That
is
doesn't mean that if you're bald, you're less attractive. I don't know
that's
what you're
not what I
talking
was
about.
saying. Not what I was saying.
Doesn't mean you're old either.
No, he's old. He's a wizened old man, repeatedly referred to as such.
Yeah.
Why
Okay, fair
are
enough.
do you feel like a wizened old man?
No, I'm just saying, I'm just coincidentally saying it doesn't mean that because he's bald, he's old. It's, you know,
No. No,
no, it's slander.
he is an old dude, though. Megora is also an old lady. They're old.
Fair
They're
enough.
old and adorable and how terrible they are to each other. They're my favorite.
Very cute. Relationship goals.
Absolutely. We could all be so lucky.
So
Yeah.
between Apsalar and Cutter and Escaralpasta and Magora, you'd bet on Escaralpasta and Magora.
Oh, for sure. They've got something that you know is basically unbreakable.
Yeah.
I mean, they only met like a few months ago, and then look at how like deeply in love they already are. It's incredible.
I'm already married. Like,
Yeah.
right?
It's not
So,
like the guy's constantly hiding from his wife.
it's just married
Exactly.
life.
That's what
It's
makes it
normal.
work. And she's
They give
always
each other
trying to kill
space.
him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great. They know each other's flaws and they love each other anyway.
Yeah. They're
Love,
old, so they're not
hatred.
going to change anymore. They know what
Right.
to expect. It's like a
Well,
That's
hobby.
true.
Change
right?
change is relative. You know, theoretically they could shift forms, but beyond that,
Oh, true. You're right. Sure. They can change. Yeah. And that's why. Yeah, that's why Crocus and Absolar is like, they met. He was a guy. Then he grew up. Now he's a different person. It's not a different thing. Cats.
they
Teenagers change
change.
all the time. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Take on new identities. It's
Yeah. That's
classic.
why it's the worst time to get into a relationship.
Do you guys did you know anyone slash did you ever change your name when you were young?
Like legally,
Not necessarily legally.
illegally.
Illegally, yes. Criminally, did you change your name when you were young? Or know anyone who criminally changed their name?
Not just nicknames. You mean just like you asked some people to call you a
No, like
different
they
name.
start and I don't even mean like transitioning or anything, but just like people who's like literally just like adopt a different name because they don't like their name or something. The reason I
Hmm.
bring it up, one, like I know several people who've done it. I mean, I run in
Oh,
like
really?
artsy circles, so it's not exactly uncommon,
Hmm.
right? But people get their pseudonyms and stuff. But I have several friends who it's weird where like I will maybe call them by the name I first like knew them. Like they
Hmm.
don't want me to necessarily change what I call them, but to like all the new people, they have a different name. And it's always this weird, like I had this like cognitive dissonance about their identity. It's a strange thing.
That's very interesting. And it's actually
Yeah.
just change their name not because of, transitioning or any other
Nope.
problems with their parents or.
I mean,
Mm-mm.
I don't know if it's related to problems with the parents. I mean,
Okay.
I'm sure that may be part of it. I don't know. I don't know. I just know that they reached a point in their life where they decided to not legally even, I think, but just change their name. Maybe they
Hmm.
someday will. Um, but I literally have like several friends, including one who
Well,
I'm very close to who did. And a couple that thought about it and then didn't do it. Again, it's artsy circles. So people are weird and their identities are constantly in flux
interesting.
and yeah.
I mean, how much of your identity is tied to your name? I guess depends on the person, but.
I potentially a lot. I mean, I feel like when I think of my name, I both have like feelings about my name as like an entity independent of me, and
Hmm.
also like I feel like Carl is an old man's name, which not coincidentally, it's my grandfather's name as well. He's dead. Um,
Hmm.
but I also at the same time am Carl and like have associations that way, right? And so my identity is wrapped up in my name for me. It's a weird sort of like paradox, I guess.
I
I
see.
don't know.
I just think of, do you know llamas with hats? That's what I think when I hear Carl.
Literally not. This probably isn't the first time you've mentioned that to me,
I
but it's
think it
certainly not the
is.
first
I
time I've
think it
gotten
is.
that. I used to get it in middle school all the time. That was when Llamas with Hats came
Is
out,
that
and
old? Fuck.
yes, it devastated my middle school life. Actually, it wasn't that bad. I like wasn't that. I was more, I think, offended by Carl Wheezer comparisons.
Mhm.
I was nervous to be seen as Carl Wheezer. But even that, I'm like, in hindsight, Carl Wheezer is an icon. And again, we could all be so lucky to be like Carl Wheezer.
Mm. I see.
Are people familiar with Jimmy Neutron?
Mhm.
Yes, Farsha, you're not. That's not surprising. It's like a cartoon.
I've seen ads for it on
Okay.
what did it air on Cartoon Network
Yeah,
or
cartoon. Or no,
Nickelodeon?
it was Nick. It was
Yeah,
Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I saw the ads for it and never watched it.
Who would have thought that we'd go from Romantasy to Jimmy Neutron in the same discussion? What a day. This is what Steve misses out on when he's not around.
I mean, that's why people come here for the, you know,
That's right.
interesting, focused topics on literature, right? It's
Exactly. Really, really deep thematic
a deep
analyses.
dive.
Yeah. We did have a really good, like, pretty deep conversation. Was it last week or the week before? Steve set us off and we just,
When I
like,
wasn't
went
here.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That makes sense. When you're not around, we act smarter.
It's not the first time I've heard that.
Is that you also getting middle school flashbacks? All right. That's all of chapter 20. I guess we can go
Mhm.
on to chapter 21 if we're ready.
Yeah.
We start with
Was
the
anything else
epigraph,
about
"There's no death in light," which I don't know what
Alright.
that means other than it sounds creepy. Were you gonna say something, Dan?
I was just trying to think what else was in the Osric chapter, because there
That's
was a
this
lot of
chapter, yeah.
yeah. Wait, but we already discussed it.
Not really. Oh, I have way more to
Not
say.
really.
Okay, yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
was
no.
thinking. I was like, we haven't finished. Okay,
Yeah,
sure.
but
Go.
it starts with Febrile. So let's give Shannon his due with Febrile. I'll hear out his case that Febrile maybe isn't the worst, and then I will promptly throw that out and hate on Febrile.
Okay, I don't think Febril's the worst. He's not good, but
He's he's no
uh,
Bidethal.
he's no Bidethal. That's correct. Actually, you mentioned the epigraph first. I did want to mention that. So almost all these epigraphs we've been reading lately have been about the Warrens and darkness and light, and
Yep.
I don't know, like I can kind of see how that's connected to the stuff we're reading, but I don't know.
I mean, they
My
talk
mind
about
just
it.
hasn't quite connected at all.
They talk about darkness, shadow, and light, and Mianis Thir, and Rashan, and Karl Galen, Karl Leosan, and Karl Emerlon a lot, but like we get a bunch of exposition dumps. But I'm with you. It's not like what I did not remember all of these expedition dumps because
Mm-mm.
it's not what I associate with this book at all. But it's clearly intentional. I don't think it's
Mhm.
just seeding the ground for future things. Like there's thematic importance here.
So, what I want to talk about with Febril though was so we get his background where he was the High Mage of Ugarat, and we learn that when the Malazans were coming to take him over, the what is that? I forget what the Falad or something, the leader of the city, he told him to go gather up all the everything of learning, all the scrolls, all the history, and even all the historians, and burn them all, kill them all, just to rob the Malazans of all of this, because he knew that the Malazans, this is one of the things they were interested in, was all of this rich history and all of this. And not only that, but like Ugarit was literally in the middle of a renaissance. Like there were all these schools opening up, and museums, and people were learning. And Febril put an end to that. Like he did that because he, you know, was following orders. I'm just like, man, that is really terrible. Like what he did to this city. Like yeah, like um but he is like very clearly he was following orders, and I don't think Febril today would do that. Like I think that's the point of why he was remembering this, was because now he's actively working against the Whirlwind Goddess because he doesn't believe that she's actually for the rebellion. Like what we learned in this section in this chapter was that Febril is the only one of the leadership that actually is for the rebellion. Like he wants the Malazans out. And so he's working with Corporal Adam and all of them to kill the Whirlwind Goddess or stop her, and then they'll leave. Like they're playing their own games over in the Empire, and then the Malazans will leave. Um, so I'm like, I can kind of respect that in a way. Like he at least is following his principles, like he is doing. And he's in fact, well, we learn here he's actually not an old man. Like we
Yeah.
thought he's this old man this whole time. He's actually a young guy. Um, so I just thought that there's a lot more to Febril than we, had any clue of. So I just find him an interesting
Yeah.
character. Like I think he's way more interesting than than I remembered him being, but also just than I thought he was.
I totally taking off my bit hat for a second. I agree with everything you just said. I mean, I actually I remember thinking after reading those pages that I wish we got this earlier. Like he's a
Mhm.
really
Yeah.
interesting character, and that would have made me like much more invested in what was going on with him if I had
I
a
agree.
better idea of like what his inner world was like. You know, I not these books aren't like especially fast paced, but I don't feel that it's so slow that we couldn't have had maybe a little more like interior character exposition early on to kind of lay out the inner worlds
Hmm.
of Febrile and even Bidithal for that matter. I mean, maybe we find out Bidithal at kind of an appropriate pace, but yeah, no, I think it's really interesting, and I mean, what I will add to that is I think this maybe ties into why we're talking about light, darkness, and shadow so much. Is this whole book is really about, I think, challenging traditional, simple narratives
Hmm.
and about how it's sometimes really hard to tell. Like the lines get really blurred between right and wrong, and that sometimes the stories you expect and the beliefs you carry and the values you have uh just fail to match up to the reality of whatever situation you find yourself in. I mean, I definitely think that of the 3 or the 4 books we're given so far, like, there's much more moral ambiguity in this book as a whole.
More of the first book, do you think?
Gardens of the Moon might be up there as well. I'm with you
Mm.
on that, because we followed the Malazan so heavily, and they're, like, pretty much the bad guys.
Yeah. And Count and Brood and the Mentor Rake are also like, are they good, are they bad? They seem to be good, right?
Yeah. You may be right about that. Gardens of the Moon might. That said, I don't feel like it necessarily gets as morally ambiguous as this book is in terms of, like,
Mm.
genuinely it being unclear what the right thing to do is. Like, Gardens of the Moon, it's
Yeah.
like you are challenged in ways, but it's typically pretty clear who's in the right and who's in the wrong most of the time. While here, I
Yeah.
think it's much harder to tell.
Well, I mean, definitely the whirlwind is not the right side, though.
But they're trying to
It can't
expel.
be.
I would disagree with that. I mean, they're trying to expel invaders, colonizers.
Mhm.
They are also. I'm not saying that makes them right, but I think that that is something we have to consider, right? And then on top of that, Felicen understandably has issue. She's seeking justice against her sister,
Yeah.
who made her what she is. I mean, it's. I think it's a really complicated situation. Of course, the people are like the heads of the whirlwind, not great, right? Like that's the most explicitly like black and white we get. However, there are people within that force that we absolutely root for. And I think Felison herself is a genuinely morally ambiguous character.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
is
yeah.
what she's doing completely wrong? I wouldn't
No.
catch. I think it's a mistake. I can safely say that, but I don't know that I would like just be like what she's doing is morally wrong.
Yeah. But the goddess is not, it's not good for anyone if she wins,
No,
I
no,
think.
it's a force of destruction. I agree with that. I guess if you're going like in the strictest, like the whirlwind itself, I agree with that.
Yeah. Like, I mean, if they win the fight and they win, I mean, again, I don't know who would end up on top because everyone would start betraying each other as soon as they kill the Malazan, right? But let's assume that Shaik like is controlled by the whirlwind and she's the head of a whatever government organization they're gonna do. And that's not gonna be a good ending, I think, for the normal people of Rarak, like of Seven
I
Cities even.
That might be okay, I actually think. Like, if it's Felicen as Shaik, I don't think Felicen has any chance of surviving that, though. With everything set up the way it is, I don't think that if she wins this fight that she could survive.
Yeah. But I think normal people would be more probably have a better life with a Malison.
I agree with that. I think that's part of the ambiguity.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm not conflicted, to be honest, as to which side I think should be winning.
Are you conflicted about Karsa?
Karsa, I don't feel like he's really on the part of the whirlwind. He doesn't care
That
about the
no, not
faction.
about that. I just mean
Okay.
Karsa as a character. Are you conflicted about him morally?
He's cool, but morally, he's not a good person. Well, he
Exactly.
hasn't done many good things yet.
I agree
I
with
can
that.
see he could,
And
but
yet, right. And yet there's a part of you that roots for him anyway. And you have to acknowledge the parts of him that have changed, right? Like you feel
yeah.
that that's what I'm talking about is Karsa exists in the shadow, right? He's neither in the dark or the light, which theoretically doesn't perfectly map onto good and evil anyway either.
Mhm.
But, you know, same situation here, I think. I actually feel Karsa really embodies that the most and is I, the most morally ambiguous character in
Yeah.
the book.
I was thinking more along the line of like, if he was on trial and I was to say guilty or not guilty, I would probably say guilty.
Absolutely. That's our
That's
traditional view of justice. Absolutely.
yeah.
But that's what you're kind of forced to like reckon with. And like, is that right? Because that's in some ways a very Thais Leosin. That's a very light way of viewing things, right?
I would say sentence him, make him think a bit, and when he comes out, he's hopefully a better person. And help
That's kind of
him
what
become a
happened.
better person. Yeah.
That's kind of
Yeah.
what happened, right? He was enslaved and he kind of thought a bit and he came out a better person. Not a good person. He's so far from a good person, I would say, but he
Yeah.
has good parts inside him.
That's a good point. I think I agree.
Damn it, Dan. You know what? Despite it all, you made us talk about relatively deeper topics. So I'll try not to hold it against you. Varsha, what are your thoughts about Febrile and the light, darkness, shadow inclusion?
Yeah, I didn't think of the thematic interpretation of it, but that's really cool. I like that how like, we keep being reminded how they all sort of meld into each other, and we can say that for a lot of characters how our feelings constantly change, like you said. So
Exactly.
I love that. I didn't think of it, but my eyes have been opened. More light has been shone. uh, about February, that was a really interesting section. And you know what? I thought, okay, here's finally someone with a legitimate grievance against the Malazan Empire. When his POV started with, oh, the Malazans came, and because of them, the libraries have been burnt, right? He says, I didn't pay attention to they caused this. I thought Kellenwood came and for some reason wanted to burn down their libraries. But it
Yeah.
turns out that these guys burnt their own damn libraries because they were afraid of Kellenwood stealing their knowledge. Which I'm like, you're being a little unfair here to pin this atrocity on the Malazan emperor. So yeah, I think I'm still on the hunt for someone who has a legitimate reason to hate the Malazans. And
Well, isn't
I
it
don't know.
a
I don't know if they don't
legitimate
exist.
reason
Hmm?
What
that
about Karsa? They enslaved
he
him.
got conquered? That too.
That
There
well,
you go.
they didn't did they
Yeah, yeah.
They actively enslaved
they
him,
hurt
even though
him
slavery
quite
is
a
illegal.
lot.
The hypocrisy is intentional, I think.
Hmm.
In fact, I'm certain of it. That the Malazans who have outlawed slavery actively contributed to his enslavement. However, I would also argue Febrile does have a legitimate grievance, even if it was his own people and himself that burned all of the books. The colonization itself is, I think, a legitimate grievance, right? I mean, being conquered, like that's a pretty good. People die, you know, resources are taken. That's why they burned it, right? It's because they didn't want the resources to be taken
Hmm.
by the Malazans.
I mean, they weren't
It
doing
was
it
a
to each
middle
other,
finger.
though. So, like,
I'm not saying they're like good guys, but I'm just saying I think this is a legitimate grievance. Like I wouldn't be able to say
Yeah.
you're wrong for feeling that way, you know, like I would also be upset if my city was conquered, you know?
I guess. I think the only real grievance, there is one real grievance, which is the massacre of at Aaron. That's the only real bad thing that they did, where the clan a mess.
Other than literally conquering everyone.
Well, but that's normal. I mean, everyone is doing it.
Okay, I mean, fair enough. I get what you're saying. You know, conquest isn't alien to these people and their cultures, but it's still like
So they also go around killing the nobles of every place they conquer, which you could theoretically, if you squint, argue that it's a good thing. Like, based on how the
Probably
nobles
best.
behaved in Dead House Gates, it almost feels like that's some sort of liberation that they are providing. I don't know what the right
Right.
verb is here, but
Do you
to the
think, I
people.
mean, that's the whole debate around like the French Revolution, right? I mean, clearly it got out of hand, but like, was it just to just go and kill the aristocracy
Hmm.
and take all their shit
Mm,
and burn things down, right?
I mean, if you're
That's what
gonna
I'm saying.
kill anyone,
Like,
if you're
that's
gonna kill anyone, I'm more in
ambiguous.
favor of killing the aristocracy than anyone else. So, you know,
So,
I mean,
so if
that,
you have to kill someone, the
Yeah,
aristocracy is a good
if you had to choose, like if someone had to die,
So-
I
I understand the sentiment, but I feel icky with the thought of
yeah,
you just wipe them out. Like I cannot excuse Lassine's purge of all of the because we know it's not all bad people. We know that because just talking about within this world. We're not even talking about the real world, although the real world is even more complex than a story can ever be. The the parents exist, right? We know what happened to Fellison because of this. There, we know they're just not alone. The Darujistan is full of nobles who, like, some of whom are decent. I have to imagine Seven Cities has some decent nobles.
yeah,
Maybe you could still say they're extractive. You know, they're taking material goods that don't belong to them. They're, there's any number of political readings you could do with this, and I would be happy to like talk about those, but I I don't know that you can just like I personally internally uh writhe against the idea of just like countenancing a massacre of any kind against any people.
yeah. I mean, if you look at them individually, obviously there's good people, and that's what happens. You know, when you start looking at people together, they stop becoming single people and
Exactly.
stories, and they become whatever.
Right.
But I'm just saying, as a class, the aristocratic class is probably inherently, I would say, not the best class
Sure.
to be part of, and even just because of the accumulation of capital is, from a class standpoint, probably inherently evil. So, yeah,
I'm sympathetic to that, but you could also then argue if we're just going off strict material values, that plenty of poor people rob each other every day. In fact, most like direct crimes are then committed, right? And I'm not saying that is I'm not accusing. I'm just like trying to point out the nuances, I guess, and of trying to simplify
yeah.
a
I'm just saying, as a
situation.
class, the upper class accumulates so much wealth in comparison to the other ones that it's not really a fair comparison. You know,
Yeah, in terms of scale, right? I mean,
from a
come on, in terms of
Marxist
scale. Yeah.
political perspective, which I don't know
I
anything about.
I I'm sympathetic to
Yeah.
that in many ways, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I would be, if they killed all the poor people, I would be way more outraged. Or if they killed all the, I don't know, any other class, I would be way more outraged, I guess.
There also are way more of them, right?
It's true.
Like the nobles is like by far the smallest. Like if you had to pick a group of people, that's going to be the smallest group of
Yeah.
people. That's going
Since
to
we
be
have to
1% of the
choose a class
population.
to kill, let's just all agree we can kill the nobility. I agree. I also agree.
I mean, if you have to kill somebody, I guess, but you don't have to do it. I mean, that's Tavor's whole thing, right? And Lassine convinces herself of the same thing, that like there are only two choices, right? You either allow them to take you and you self-sabotage, self-destruct, or you commit an atrocity.
Maybe.
Because that's what Tavor did to Fellison. I do
Yeah.
not believe. I mean, I think objectively at this point, it was a bad idea because she created a worse monster than she would have done if she actually like directly intervened.
So do you think she could have directly intervened, kept her position also protected her and Felsen?
I don't know.
Okay.
I would be lying if I said I felt confident that it's a safe bet. I don't think she's an idiot, but I do think sometimes acting out of fear leads to you making mistakes. So I think it's possible.
Mm,
These people do that
fair
all.
enough.
They're all paranoid. This is a classic issue with people in power is they get paranoid because some people are out to get them, and then they become convinced that all their choices are bad choices.
Yeah. I
They
mean,
lose sight of
yeah.
what's actually there.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just are working off bad information too, right? Like how often are you just given incorrect information or slanted information, right? Information that's maybe factually true, but presented in such a way that it makes you think there is no other option but the worst option.
Yeah. I don't know. I
I
could
don't
see
know
it
also.
being very good, the best option, but also not being the best option.
I also do not know. I just know it sucks that Fellison had to go through what she did.
Yeah.
Not that she handled it well either. She handled it terribly. But
I don't blame too much either Tabor or Felsen in this whole. It's just unfortunate, I think.
I mean, I feel a lot of empathy and sympathy for both of them. You know, I would not judge them very harshly either.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess Lacine is the one at fault,
Yeah,
probably.
Lacine I judge. Lacine had all. I'm talking about if you're in power. Lacine had all the power there. She could have simply not done what she did, but she also was convinced that she had no choice. That if she did not get rid of all of these people, they would betray her and she would die and lose everything, and the empire would fall apart. She's convinced that she is the only one who can hold the empire together.
Mhm.
Maybe. Yeah.
I mean, that's literally that's what she argues to
Yeah.
Kalong.
No, yeah.
I just don't know
I
if
mean,
it's true.
Philibert
Certainly,
was
you should
an absentee
question.
dad of an emperor.
Yeah,
And I mean, yeah, I get she believes she did what was best. I just don't think she's very good at it. So,
I agree. I don't think she's very good at. It's interesting to hear Erikson talk about her because he speaks of her as if she is actually very competent and was just given a really bad hand. And I think it's maybe
Mm.
fair that she's given a bad hand. I just don't believe that she made the best decisions that she could in the situation that she was given. She just makes so many major, humongous mistakes.
yeah, I agree.
All right,
That last
next
was
up.
about Lacine, right? I think I lost the thread a
Yes,
little bit.
sorry.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
No.
We're talking about Lacine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am a Lacine hater. I have more sympathy for her than I did on my first read, but
Yeah, I'm same place. I have more sympathy, but also I don't think much of her.
no.
I
I
I
don't
don't actively hate her.
No. No, I don't
That's
hate
about
her.
it.
I do look down on her. I don't think she's very good at her job.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't have enough information to say one way or the other.
I mean, that's
I don't
fair.
know. I'll wait.
There's a lot of ambiguities, and there's a lot we don't know, and yeah, I get that. Do we wanna talk Lorik now and Osric?
Mhm.
Meeting
Whose was that?
Light Daddy?
Light. Okay.
Yeah, he is. True. True.
I mean, literally, right? That's not even a romantasy thing, he just is.
Yeah.
Um, cool stuff. I mean, that's my first thought. It's really awesome. They go in this dream memory world that's maybe a pocket warren. Uh, he tracks down his dad who's been missing, his dad who is literally like the god of the, Tais Leosin, and his dad is a dick, not
Yeah.
surprising.
Yeah.
He was apparently in on Lorik's familiar being this imposter. uh, on
Yeah,
the
was that
moon.
actually like a plan? Like
I think so.
Yeah,
Osric disappeared
apparently.
because Lorik seemed like Osric seemed like he knew all about it, and so
I
I wondered
I
about
don't know if
that.
they
And
planned
he
it
takes
together.
Lorik to find another demon, so it does
Right.
seem
I don't think they planned it
like
together because the sense I got was that Osric just kind of up and left, and Lorik had to adapt, and he adapted and helped kind of settle the situation. Osric then like found out about what his son did, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
He's helping him find a familiar though, and he wants him to find another one when Grey Frog refused to accept the binding. I like Grey Frog, by the way. It's like only the title, no power, no thank you. I don't want the job. So
Talking about too like the power of bonds and duty and those relationships. Animander Rake is also a terrible father. He and were like openly invited to compare the two, right? Because they were buddies, or at the very least, they fought together. They adventured together. This is not the first time we've been told that they adventured together. Lady Envy and apparently had some like a love triangle going on at some point. They're obviously darkness and light. However, I think the big difference in their character is Osric is very selfish, and he exclusively follows his whims, which is why he's
Mhm.
alone acting like a magical archaeologist, while Rake has essentially damned himself to taking care of his people. And that is what he does. While Osric has actively abandoned
yeah.
his people. I mean, it's literally yin and yang, right? Like
Mm.
with the one bit of each other that they have, the bit of darkness and light and the bit of light and darkness, the trait they share is that they're both terrible fathers. They both abandon their kids. Clearly, right? We've discovered that Drift of Volley is full of Rake's abandoned children and grandchildren.
Yeah.
yeah, the interestingly though, Osric has a lot of acceptance to Lorik has a lot of acceptance to just being treated this way by his father,
Because
whereas
he
the
rocks.
the people on Drift Valley seem to be so full of resentment. If Anderist
Yeah.
is anything to go by, I don't think we got anybody else's opinion on the subject. But if Anderist's feelings about Drake are anything to go by, they have a lot of resentment about being abandoned there.
Sidebar,
Mm-hmm.
Forge of Darkness,
Yes.
it's gonna dramatically change your view of I'm not gonna say for better or worse, but I'm just gonna say the Osric stuff in it is very interesting.
Okay, nice. I'm looking forward to it. We've met Draconis so far, and I will say no more. Maybe we can chat more in the full series spoilers.
Absolutely.
Maybe I need to
And we'll
start
see.
reading this book. Dang it!
Yes,
We
please do. And then we can reread when we get to that point in the publication order.
Yeah,
I'm
well, I mean,
doing
that's
fall
why
of
I
that.
read The God Is Not Willing, because I figured I'm having such a good time rereading these. Yeah, why not? Just
Is
read
it?
it now and then I'll reread it later.
Absolutely.
Yes. Jared's
Alright,
doing, I
back
think,
to
a
Lore.
chapter by chapter breakdown or something. He did the prelude yesterday, which is why I started it too, because it sounded so good. But
I'm sorry, who did?
Jared, the fantasy thinker,
Oh, Jared. Yeah. No,
yeah,
no, yeah, Jared.
he
Cool.
he started. I think he said he's going to do a chapter by chapter analysis thing if possible. So we'll see. That might be
Alright,
fun to follow
we
along.
just lost Dan. Dan has been
Yeah.
taken by the Warren of Mysteries. We don't know why, but he's gone. Um, just like Osric.
Just
Maybe I
like
should call him
Ostrich.
Osric from now. Just abandons us, leaves us to
It doesn't even
struggle.
say goodbye. Not Dan, I mean. Dan did say bye. But Osric, he just like looking in the distance while Lorik's turning to say bye. And
I
it's like,
love it.
nope, I don't care. I'm paying attention to that weird lake thing now.
It does make me very curious about I do not remember if we ever learn who Lorik's mom is, and I'm very curious.
Yeah, given what we were given in this chapter, I agree.
Lorik is such a
Yeah, I
stud.
don't know. It's
His
somebody
name's
that he can't get
terrible.
along with, and is a lot like Lorik.
Yeah. So a superstar is what that means. Although
I
probably he
mean, I
means
can.
it in a truly terrible way. Um, I will say, to Ozric's credit, he turns into a white and gold dragon. That's really cool. Can't take that away from him.
Yes.
I did
And
wonder
that's
if
how
it
he
was the
comes
Queen of
in.
Dreams. How much they
I
invoke
wondered.
her.
Yeah, I had that thought too. That maybe, I mean, that wasn't the vibe I got when Lorik talked to her, but maybe they
Yeah.
have a weird relationship.
Well, I think
Um,
if I'm not mistaken, in the Queen of Dreams, wasn't she one of like the NPCs, like when they were like Animatorake and
yeah,
Ostrich and everybody were a party? I think she was
yeah.
part of the party.
Lady Envy too at one point. So I wonder if
Hmm.
that could be the mom. Maybe it's just some other NPC. I don't know. I'm really curious to see if we get that answer at some point. Love my boy though. And now Gray Frog. Oh my god. What a pleasant surprise. If anyone is a first time
Yes.
reader, you're gonna enjoy Gray Frog. He's a fan favorite for a reason. Oh my god. I just noticed your little Stitch shirt, Varsha. Is that Stitch? That is
So
Stitch, yes.
it's Toothless and Stitch with their faces switched.
I love it. I'm just now gonna picture Gray Frog as like a giant Stitch. Just a huge
Oh.
Stitch.
I love that. But he's green in color, right? I don't know why he's green in my head. Maybe because he's gray
I think he's
frog. But he's
gray.
gray. He's gotta be gray. Okay, that makes more sense.
Pretty sure he's gray. It would be kinda
Or
funny if
is
he
that just
wasn't
his
gray.
name and who he's inside?
Apparently, he isn't a f like, he's not a frog. He looks like an ape, which I had forgotten.
He looks like an ape. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, he's described multiple times as looking like an ape. It's interesting. I
I
wonder
love
how he
the way
got the
he
name Gray Frog.
talks.
Maybe he
His
ribbits. Maybe he makes it sound like a ribbit, and that's what does it.
does.
I love Gray Frog so much.
I mean, this he's one of those characters that I've just like sort of built up in my head. He's eating insects, all based on the frog part of his name. He's green, he's eating insects, he's got a really long
Absolutely.
tongue to snap out insects with.
I for sure have added just a bunch of details to him that the books for sure never mention. He
Yeah.
is. He's a mythic character. I mean, if I exist in that world, I might very well start worshiping him, start a cult of Grey Frog.
And I mean, reading the things he says, he's a noble beast. But in my head, he's just snapping up insects all the time. But yeah, I love Grey Frog. Big fan.
Absolute icon.
If you guys
All right.
didn't have this febrile mess going on, I would have named myself Grey Frog for today.
I really should have done that. I don't know why I didn't do that either. What else do we got? So yeah,
Ask for your
Decembalakis,
choice.
we learned Decembalakis made a deal with the Hounds of Darkness, that they were a separate thing from him, and
Mm.
he made some sort of deal so that he could turn into them.
Oh,
Unclear
I
if
did
they are
not
now
catch that
still
at all.
separate from him or if they, like, merged bodies.
Interesting.
Yeah.
This Decembalakis dude is sounding more and more interesting. I don't
Yeah, he is, right? Like, he's kinda cool. I wanna know about him. I wouldn't say no to a book about him. I don't
And
think we'll ever get it, but
he's not the same as Decembre, right? That's different. That's the god of mourning or something. The one
I
who
think
makes people sad.
Yes,
Okay.
different
yeah,
characters.
Okay.
Decembralacus. Yeah.
but
Decembalakis.
Decembre, there are multiple Decembre also.
Oh.
Are there? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Interesting.
the new there's a Decembre that was named after
I
the
know the
original.
new Decembre. I didn't know
I
there
think
were
it
ones before him.
yeah, I think it's like Apsalar and Apsalar.
Hmm.
Oh. Interesting.
What else
Okay.
happens?
Arsa's on his way back. Oh, and Leoman tells Korab that they are done, and that this is Camestrello's or Corbolodom's battle now.
Oh yeah, and Haborik is finally acting. He's finally doing stuff. He
Mhm.
saves
Finally doing
Scalara.
stuff.
He purges her
That
of
was
Durin.
I did want to mention Scalara. I thought that was so funny how the last section where we saw her, I thought she was being a good spy, but then we learn this chapter, no, everybody knows she's a spy.
Yeah, that is pretty wild.
Which, and then
Except,
she's not even a good spy. It's like they showed up and she's like, see, she's so high. She's like, she's thinking to herself, yeah, they mentioned something about Bithel. I don't like,
And
oh
Bidethal
yeah, how good of
himself,
a spy is this girl?
he Bidethal has been intimidated into collaborating with the other traders.
Well, he got what he wanted because he was even right before that, he was thinking, I need to protect the whirlwind goddess because when we come out of this, I want to be the leader of her cult,
Right.
basically. Like I want to, he's looking at this only as like I want to I want to be in a position where I can do horrible things to little girls. I mean,
This is
that's it.
why it was always a
And
bad idea
so,
to keep him and feel like you had to keep him around. I mean, that was such a
mhm,
failure completely. There was no reason. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier when I said you just convince yourself that the only good option is the worst option, and you refuse to actually act and do something decent because you're convinced it cannot work and will just destroy you.
yeah,
And I think this is evidence that sometimes it's just fear. I mean, maybe sometimes it's true, but sometimes you think you have to keep this all around to keep the balance of power, and that just results in atrocities, and then he betrays you because of course
yep,
he does.
yeah. Because I mean, Several offers him exactly what he wants. Here you can lead a cult and be
You
terrible, and it's like, oh, okay,
can't
well, you know
yeah,
what? Yeah, this
can't
side looks better.
can't trust a snake. You have to build up genuine respect, genuine relationships, right? I mean, that's the only way
Hmm.
these sorts of hierarchies, these balances of power work is when you actually have people you can trust. You can't trust anyone around you. Yeah, you're just doomed to
Hmm.
fail. There's no way it's gonna work out.
Well, and in a way, I think that kind of comes around to the rebellion. Like this whole rebellion was failed,
Yeah,
like from the beginning, because all of them had their own motivations, their own things. I mean, even the goddess herself isn't really for the rebellion.
absolutely.
Um, so I think it never stood a chance.
No, it's just yeah, set up for disaster, for tragedy. It's just too disparate, too much of a storm. Is there anything
Mhm.
else we're missing?
I did want to mention, to backtrack just a little bit, to the memory of Roroku. Um, so they talk about Moonspawn, and that apparently it originated there in Seven Cities, they think, or at least, well, Ostrich thinks, because of the damage that's done to it, and then it drifted north of Genebacus.
That's right.
Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, we already know that Kichain Shamal had like outposts, cities, and other, on the continent of Genebacus, but there's, as far as we know, nothing here on Seven Cities, and we learn why. It's because of the Hounds of Shadow. They're killing them every time they float over, and I just found that really really interesting.
that is interesting.
Um, and I think that goes into why I don't know. I was thinking about this today. Like, why is Seven Cities my favorite area of Malice? Because it is. Most people they like Genebacus. I'm a big Seven Cities stan, and I think it's because I don't know. Like it's very reminiscent of our real Middle East kind of birth of civilization,
Right.
with a magical twist. I mean, you got hounds running around domesticating people. I mean, it's certainly still magical, but it's I don't know, like it's closer to our real life. I don't know, like I can almost relate to it better and understand it better, because we don't have, sci-fi dinosaurs with sword arms coming down and running around. That's other planets.
Darujistan may be my favorite single city, but
100%.
on
Ditto.
this read through, I'm with you. This was not the case in the first read through at all, but on the second read through, Seven Cities, I'm enjoying more than
I just think
Jinabakis.
it has such a fascinating history, and
Exactly.
and I'm
It
really
yeah.
in love with this idea of how the desert remembers, and Raraku itself like remembers this stuff.
It
Um,
yeah, as a setting, it feels more vivid and more
mhm.
complex and just better realized. I think some of the plot points in Jinabakis on a first read were more interesting to me, and some of the characters I liked a little more. But this time, now that I, like, can kinda settle into the world more and have a better idea of what's going on, like, I'm really appreciating the nuances and the interesting little details, both, in terms of the world building and the thematics around the world building. I'm with you. Seven Cities is my favorite right now, and we'll see how I feel once we get into the last big continent.
Well, again, that's more of a well, we'll talk about it in a couple weeks.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so I don't know. I just really love that all we're getting with this desert. And a lot of it was this chapter, which
Absolutely.
I didn't remember like any of it.
I was right there with you. I'd forgotten basically all of this. It really was like reading the whole thing fresh. It was really very cool, very special. What about you, Varsha? What are your thoughts on Seven Cities versus Janabakis?
Seven Cities versus Chinaback. I don't think I ever thought of it like that, but we Memories of Ice was Janabakis, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
The
I think
first and the
Seven
third.
Cities has a lot more lore and
Yeah.
story than we've encountered in Janabakis. I don't know if that means it's not there or we just haven't seen it yet. But yeah, I feel like there's a lot more to Seven Cities. At least a lot more that intrigues me. So if I had to pick, not that I would ever think about it this way if I wasn't asked to here, I'd probably choose Seven Cities.
Erikson definitely upgrades the way he writes about the environment in the Seven Cities. Like both in terms of again how he writes about the desert and the desert being alive. You don't really get that with any of the geography of Janabakis. But on top of that, also that theme of like the past literally arising out of the ground and haunting the present, that everything kind of is leading to this. You can't escape the past.
Hmm.
It, that is just again not really it's there, but it's much quieter in Janabakis. Janabakis really seems to be concerned with new threats and novelty, or well, not actually even new threats, because Memories of Ice, I guess, is all based around the past again coming back, but it's just not as baked into the geography, I guess, is what it comes down to. Like quite literally, the way the prose Erikson uses in terms of the environment is it's just different.
Yeah,
Yep.
that image from Dead House Gates where first of all, the whirlwind is all the sand of the desert that has then sort of revealed the layers and layers and layers of history buried in Raraku. And now we are talking about the desert itself having memories of its own, that it was formerly a sea. And I think it misses being a sea a little bit. So yeah, I just love everything about that setting. And you're right. I think the way he writes about it too is quite different and more evocative.
I would be very curious to hear if this came out of inspiration from like Dune, or if this came out of inspiration from his own digs. I know he's like worked in like jungle climates, and
Okay.
so I'd be curious why he hasn't written more about that sort of environment. If it feels maybe a little too close to home, and so it's
Yeah,
not
that's
as
funny.
yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't really. You're right.
I wonder if the like Apparently, some of Esselmon's books have a really nice jungle-ish setting, from what I hear. So I
Cool.
wonder if
Yeah.
they divided up the land to write about in that way. And
That's interesting. Yeah.
Well,
I'd really love.
I can remember Esselmont, one of his books. Like, there's some jungle archaeology in it. But yeah,
I would be
but yeah,
very
can't think of any
curious
Eriksons.
to hear the two of them together speak about how their work influenced Erikson and Asselman. I mean, how their work influenced their writing and which stuff they wrote.
But yeah, I feel like this has got to be somewhat archaeology based. Just like I said, I mean, how much it's based on
For
kind of the
sure.
cradle of humanity. I mean, it's
Absolutely.
so like I can look at this and I can look at, like I said, our real life Middle East, and I can see so many things that fit
Yep. Absolutely.
just with fantasy and stuck
Yeah.
in.
It is such a cool bit of lore that the 7 cities are named after the 7 hounds of darkness. That is another thing I'd forgotten, and that is
Yeah.
that's just such a cool detail.
Yep. The cities change, but the numbers stay the same. I think that's what they basically said.
Yep. All right. Are we ready for quotes?
I think so, except I don't have my
Sure.
copy with me and I don't have highlights either. But Shannon, if you have some, or you, Carl.
Let me check real quick and see.
My only quote was actually the epigraph that I'd mentioned earlier of there is no death in light. Yeah, there is no death in light. Quoting the high priest of Osirk. I just think it's so creepy. Such a yeah.
Oh, Jets in what? Yeah, I think. Oh, and I did love. I mean, I guess this is kind of a quote. I did love what Ostrich said about the Tisliosan, or Lorik is like, they worship you, and he says, no, they worship themselves.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great line because it's true.
Yeah, they do seem like a pretty narcissistic people. At least the exposure we've had.
Yes.
Well, if there's
So,
no other quotes, Shannon, did you have a quote?
well, one quote I had here highlighted was this was I believe. Well, no, I don't believe it's Febrile. It's him saying, "And when I have done this for you and your Mesla friends, high mage, you will be indebted to me and my desires. 7 cities shall be liberated, and the Malazan Empire will withdraw all interests from our civilization, and we shall flower once more." And I said, yeah, I had highlighted it 'cause I thought, well, yeah, like there's Febrile, like he really does think that they'll withdraw the Malazans and their civilization will flower, which makes me actually wonder if maybe he wants to kind of undo what he did by burning Ugarat and all their knowledge. But anyway,
Interesting. Yeah, he's a cool character. Definitely one that I appreciate much more now than I did on a first read. All right. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you, friends, for joining me for another week. This next week, we're going to be reading chapters 22, 23, and 24, I believe.
Yeah.
it's 3 chapters.
Okay, 22, 23, and 24. So we will be back next week with those chapters. Until then, keep on reading. I don't know.
It works for
Bye.
me.